Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Roberts. 62 Indigenous sacred and cultural items are finally making their way home to Canada after decades inside the Vatican museums. Some displayed behind glass, others locked away since the 1920s. Among them is a century-old kayak from the Northwest Territories. Its journey home sparked something bigger. It was the Inuit call for the return of their kayak that set this entire repatriation in motion. As Juanita Taylor reports, that single request opened the door to so much more.
So this must have been a very old one that was used a lot.
Daryl Nasugaloa can look at a kayak and know it's from his region in the Western Arctic.
A horn at the ends, yes. It's unique to this area, and they're fragile, but they were designed to be very light and fast.
His and other Inuit strong connection to their culture helped identify this century-old kayak. Roman Catholic missionaries sent it to the Vatican along with roughly 100,000 other objects for the 1925 Vatican Mission Exposition. But it's not clear if they were sent as gifts or if they were taken.
The gunnels there.
Now, 100 years later, the kayak is returning to the Inuit.
It's a part of our history, our culture.
Dwayne Smith is leading efforts to repatriate the kayak. He's the chair of the Inuit Regional Corporation. Those negotiations also helped advance First Nations and Métis efforts to bring home some of their sacred objects. Altogether, 62 pieces.
We can show this part of our history and our culture to our own communities, especially to our youth.
When the items left the Vatican, they got trucked to Frankfurt, where a flight donated by Air Canada is bringing them to Montreal. Negotiations between Inuit and the Vatican began in 2022, just before Canada's Indigenous group's historic visit to Rome, where they met with the late Pope Francis and joined a private tour of the Vatican Museum. Former Dene National Chief Gerald Antoine was there.
It tells you that we're on the right path of truth moving forward.
Smith says getting the kayak back is a form of reconciliation.
I hope others, such as the British Museum, the American Museum, consider repatriating these artifacts back.
The cultural objects will be arriving in Montreal on Saturday and brought to the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec for examination, where Inuit, First Nation and Métis leaders will get to see them and decide on their final destination. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Ottawa.
Later in the show, we'll hear again from Daryl Nasugaloa, who'll walk us through how this kayak was crafted and its significance in traditional beluga hunts. The Lusulke Dene First Nation wants a 5-year pause on the winter caribou hunt along the NWT ice road to the diamond mines. They say it's needed to protect the Bluenose East and Bathurst herds. The Bathurst herd is estimated to be at 3,600 animals. The First Nation wants the 5-year ban on caribou hunting along the road to begin now, before the road is open.
The problem is that people are getting too much caribou and slaughtering caribou, and some even being wasted. And for us here in Lusulke, that is not acceptable.
Marlowe says the ban would need the kind of enforcement that only the government of the Northwest Territories could provide. He says a checkpoint system could monitor hunting traffic and enforce the ban, and after 5 years, the situation could be reassessed. A Canadian investment firm has expressed interest in entering into a public-private partnership on the proposed Mackenzie Valley Highway project. Chief Jamie Moses of Pediatric First Nation says Hillcore Group visited Wrigley in September and proposed collaborating on the road under a P3 model.
They're a huge company. They're always looking for other opportunities, and they probably see this as a viable one. So we've had initial discussions there, but like I said, we're not trying to put the horse before the cart here, because it still is a GNWT project there. And until we talk to other Indigenous groups and everybody there, then we'll see what happens here, because it's huge, right?
Hillcore Group did not respond to CBC's requests for an interview. On its website, the firm says that entities under its management have an asset value of more than $5 billion. In 2023, Hillcore acquired Ruskin Construction, which has been awarded more than $3 million worth of NWT contracts, including for work on the Decho Bridge. Moses said no commitments have been made yet with Hillcore. The Northwest Territories government says there are many steps to take before it decides how to get the Mackenzie Valley Highway built. It did not confirm whether it had communicated with Hillcore Group. Fisheries and Oceans Canada is looking at reissuing fishing licenses off Nunavut's coast to a non-Inuit operation. DFO says the proposal is based on its preliminary analysis. That's despite a federal court judge saying the initial decision to hand over the licenses to an Atlantic company was unreasonable. Samuel Watt has more.
The Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada is looking at maintaining the status quo. That's to keep 3 fishing licenses off the east of Baffin Island with a non-Inuit group. A decision, they say, is based on their preliminary analysis. The issue came to a boil in 2021. Then Fisheries and Oceans Minister Bernadette Jordan reissued fishing licenses off the coast of Baffin Island to Clearwater. That was during the company's sale to FNC Quota, a coalition of Mi'kmaq First Nations in Atlantic Canada. Nunavut Tungavik Incorporated and the Kekitani Inuit Association filed a lawsuit over that decision. That's because the sale would have given Nunavut Inuit a window to acquire those licenses. Under the Nunavut Agreement, the federal government must give special consideration for marine resources in Nunavut's adjacent waters. In April 2024, a federal court judge said the minister's decision was unreasonable, that there wasn't appropriate attention given to the Nunavut Agreement. In a statement to CBC News, Clearwater says the report validates the transfer of the licenses and it protects the investment of the Mi'kmaq as, quote, they take their rightful place within the Canadian fishing industry. This is not the final decision, though. The parties have until January 9 to respond to DFO's early analysis before a final recommendation is made to the minister. Samuel Watt, CBC News, Yellowknife.
In the last few hours, QIA has also released a statement. It says rather than charting a path towards equity, DFO's recommendations maintain the status quo. And it says that would undercut Nunavummiut's economic well-being for yet another generation. The Trondrakwetchin government is suing the Yukon government. At the center of the dispute are what are called encumbering rights. That includes mineral claims or other property rights on TH settlement land. Those rights were already in place when the First Nations signed its final agreement in 1998. The Trondrakwetchin government says the Yukon has mismanaged the situation, and it's seeking what it calls significant damages. Yukon Premier Curry Dixon says he's optimistic the two sides can still cooperate.
It's clear that that feels that over the last number of years there's been issues with the way their settlement land has been treated by the Yukon government, and so they've launched a legal case. I haven't had a chance to review or been briefed on the statement of claim itself, so I don't know exactly what to say about the content of it. But I know that what Chief Taylor made it clear to me is that we want to find solutions and we want to work together.
CBC has not viewed a copy of the statement of claim, and the claims have not been tested in court. The Amautit Inuit Women's Association has issued an open letter to Nunavut Tungavik Incorporated. It's in response to the recent charge against NTI President Jeremy Tunraluk. The association acknowledges that NTI acted quickly after Tunraluk was charged with assault, noting the board's decision shows a clear commitment to safety and accountability. Amautit also points to some other Inuit organizations, saying they have not responded as quickly when faced with similar allegations. The group urges NTI to take a firm stance. It says that any organization it funds must act decisively when violence or misconduct is reported. Women in Nunavik are facing long waits for breast cancer screening. Only 352 mammograms have been completed since October 2022, even though more than 1,000 women should be screened every 2 years. That's according to the Regional Health Board. It says Nunavik has had no portable mammography unit since late 2022. That means every eligible woman must fly to Montreal for the exam. One of them is Minnie Gray, a 68-year-old from Kuujjuaq. She recently received an abnormal result after waiting more than a year just to get an appointment.
This would not be acceptable at all in the South, like in Montreal. And I'm not the only one. I know of many women that have been recalled a year and a half to 2 years after their last mammogram.
The health board says appointment procedures have improved since fall of 2024, but women still need to travel to Montreal for several days, which remains a major barrier to screening. NWT health authorities and leaders are working on providing care closer to home for residents. That's in light of data showing the amount of people traveling for care is in the tens of thousands. On Thursday evening, MLAs learned about what is being done to improve healthcare sustainability. Dan Florazone is the public administrator for the Northwest Territories. He says through analyzing patient movement, they found that NWT patients made over 20,000 trips, both in and out of the territory. Florazone says out of 600 patient charts reviewed, 30% of them could have been avoided.
So by following the journey of the patient as they travel from health cabin to health center to hospital to the south for care, it gives us an opportunity to identify gaps, to understand their experience. And this included not only traveling to health cabin communities as a starting point with a team from NTHSSA and the Department of Health and Social Services, but also to travel with patients on that journey throughout.
Florazone says they've already started investing in measures to cut travel costs. Those include using paramedics and licensed practical nurses, which are already in NWT health centers, as well as improving infrastructure, equipment, training protocols, point-of-care testing, and virtual care. He says the work ahead is guided by 3 top priorities: reducing medical travel through improving access to care, cultural safety and anti-racism, and changing the organizational culture through celebrating success and innovation. Iqaluit Housing Authority workers rallied together in the city. It comes as the union representing them is negotiating a new collective agreement. The CBC's Mahnur Mubarak has more.
Iqaluit Housing Authority workers got together and made some noise. The union representing them says the rally was held to keep the pressure on the employer to continue having discussions and coming to the negotiation table. One of the things the workers are advocating for is wage increases.
We are here to stand together to try to keep up with the cost of living.
While talks are still ongoing, Jason Rochon, the president for the Nunavut Employees Union, says he hopes the employer's behavior won't go back to what it was during the last negotiations when IHA workers went on strike. He hopes the rally sent that message.
It's because we want to make sure the employer knows that we're not going back. We're going forward, and the kind of behavior that we saw the last time, we're not going to see this time, and we're not tolerating.
Rochon says that the negotiations show that there is a path for a deal going forward, and that they are looking to keep speaking with the Housing Authority. IHA did not comment by deadline. Mahnur Mubarak, CBC News, Iqaluit.
Iqaluit are remembering a well-known chef who died last month. Carlos Foyne helped serve at the community's food center. A memorial was held this week for him in the city. Chef Foyne is remembered as being passionate, loving, and larger than life. He worked at the Kayak Community Food Center. The center offers meals to help people struggling with food insecurity. His family remembers him as someone who deeply loved Iqaluit. Sian Foyne is his brother and says that he wanted to cook food to help others.
Feed them well, feed them good food, feed them tasty food, feed them, in a space and with an attitude of lots of joy. And, no matter who you are, no matter what's going on, you should be having a good meal and enjoying yourself with people.
The center says that days before he passed away, he said that helping kids was the best part of his job. A paper published over the summer determined there's a risk of a major earthquake near Dawson City, Yukon, along what's called the Tintina Fault, and that led to new research. A team of scientists from the University of Victoria and the Yukon Geological Survey traveled to the area to learn more. Caitlin Pilkington reports.
This trench, dug near the Dempster Highway, is helping researchers uncover clues about past earthquakes hidden in the soil.
This sample would be taken right there from that layer of sand. Getting down and looking at the sediment and seeing and confirming, in fact, that it has been deformed and likely multiple times through multiple earthquake cycles was quite incredible to see, and it really confirmed a lot of our thoughts about this fault.
While the exact level of risk is unclear, researchers say it's likely another earthquake is on the way, though exactly when that might happen is something they're trying to find out.
It's useful information for people, engineers putting up buildings or bridges and other structures across Yukon territory. It's important that they understand that there is a significant risk of strong ground shaking.
Results are expected to come in 2026. Caitlin Pilkington, CBC News, Whitehorse.
Winter weather warnings are upon us, but this is a big day for those in Whitehorse who love fresh powder and shredding the gnar. The Mount Sima ski hill is open for the season. After a slow start for snowfall, the hill's manager says this recent dump of snow is good news.
We make snow here. That's our bread and butter. That was difficult this year. It was a very late fall and very warm start to winter. We were hoping and praying and dancing for this, and finally about a day or so ago it started to come, and we're like, yes, it's here, and for opening day. So it was magical. Last night it was 3 of us out there grooming, and we were just like, yeah!
It is expected to be a busier year at Mount Sima. On top of the usual programming, the mountain will host several events during the upcoming Arctic Winter Games.
Ready, Rudolph?
Ready, Santa!
Enjoy this festive season.
Coming? Where? Why, to the North Pole, of course!
Enjoy the magic.
Happy birthday!
Hilarity.
I triple dog dare you!
We're all in for a very big treat.
Enjoy the excitement.
Tremendous, gargantuan, spectacular!
And wonder.
From the moment I met you, it's been an adventure.
Enjoy the holidays. Watch free on CBC Gem.
If there's one thing I know about Canadians, it's that we're kind. We want to help.
It doesn't take a big star.
Or millions of dollars.
All it takes is one can.
$1.
Or even 1 hour of your time.
In every corner of this country, people give.
To their friends, to their families, to total strangers.
And this season, we will give again.
Starting December 5th, help us make the season kind.
Find ways to give to food banks in your community at cbc.ca/kind.
Choose clicks. Choose the algorithm. Choose doom scrolling at 3 a.m. Choose headlines that scream. Choose fake friends, deep fakes, and comic wars that never end. Choose the chaos. Choose the noise. Or don't. Choose news that's checked, verified, accountable. Choose being there where the stories are. Choose proof over panic. Sense over madness. Choose news, not noise.
Where does bravery live? It lives inside Cynthia Appia, who refuses to let the high cost of sports slow her down.
Welcome to the assembly.
Hell yeah, let's go.
What made you want to be interviewed by 40 neurodivergent interviewers?
Whoa. This is the most authentic conversation.
Oh, you make me cry.
There's concern tonight about rising flu numbers, with some hospitals saying they're seeing a surge in severe cases among kids, most of whom who haven't been vaccinated. And as Selena Alders explains, they're worried the worst could be yet to come.
Flu cases in Canada are climbing fast, and kids are being hit hard. At Ottawa's Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, or CHEO, 8 times more children tested positive for influenza in November compared to the same time last year. Twice as many pediatric patients needed to be hospitalized, and CHEO says most of the kids coming into its ER haven't had a flu shot.
We did see, I think, close to 300 patients coming through our emerge in one day, which is a significant increase.
The Montreal Children's Hospital ER was quiet until mid-November, but it's now seeing a surge in patients, many with flu-like symptoms.
5 to 7 days of fever, cough, malaise, pain in the joints, some headaches, some vomiting.
National data shows positive pediatric tests for influenza A have jumped significantly across the country since October.
My son's had it 3 times now.
Michelle McPhail and her son have been homesick with what she calls their worst case of flu ever.
We'll just let it run its course. I don't think we will get the flu shot.
We do ask our patients and families when they come to the emergency department whether or not they've received the flu vaccine.
Although this year's flu vaccine is not a perfect match with the emerging H3N2 influenza strain, health officials say it still helps.
We know that vaccines can provide some protection against the severity of disease, prevent deaths, prevent hospitalizations, and that's really important. So the message is the same to get vaccinated.
With peak flu season still weeks ahead, healthcare professionals warn now is the time to take precautions to help ease some of the pressures on the healthcare system. Selena Alders, CBC News, Halifax.
We told you earlier about the historic kayak that's finally coming home from the Vatican. Now we'll learn more about why it means so much. Daryl Nasagalowak says this was the kind of kayak Inuit once used to chase beluga whales, and at one time the water was filled with them. Take a listen.
Hunting technique goes out of, not necessarily out of style, but you couldn't use that technique anymore. The kayak went away. The kayak was it was a really specialized hunting tool, so it wasn't easy to adjust to use it to other animals other than beluga.
This shape here, it helped with the speed of the boat, the kayak?
Yeah, the design of it, this one sat way up out of the water. You didn't have as much of it in the water because it was so light. It was designed to be really flat and fast. They built it right, so the technology, the harpoons, the flint knives, the bent wood pots and stuff that we made hadn't changed for like 400 or 500 years. It's like you come up with a design that there's no more improvement you can make. You can just continue to make it because it works.
I would like to ask you about this kayak that's returning from the Vatican.
I think it was a good thing that they got it, and without them taking it, I don't think we'd have as many surviving. Very few of them, other than in collections, none survived in the north. I've seen fragments of them, and the one that's coming back is likely about the same age as the fragments I saw on the shore.
And yet this one is intact.
It's intact. It's got some damage, but I think the damage will help us have a better look what's under the skin. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
What was your reaction? What did you think when you heard it was going to be returning?
I was excited. It's coming to Canada, and should we have the proper facility to store it, the right climate-controlled environment, it's going to come back to us. But we're going to have an opportunity to finally own one again. Yeah, amazing. Wow, I'd never seen this photo of it. It'd be great to see it in person. I'm gonna, whatever it takes, I'm gonna create an opportunity for me to go down and see it. Yeah, beautiful.
And maybe an opportunity for it to come back here to see it.
Yes, we need to build a proper facility that can house it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's been gone 100 years. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
And our thanks to the CBC's Juanita Taylor and Kate Kyle for that conversation. Environment Canada is warning Yukoners to brace for a winter storm this weekend. We could see 30 to 40 centimeters of snow along with near zero visibility. The South Klondike Highway is included in the warning. There could be avalanche-related closures. Haines Road from Haines Junction to Pleasant Camp is also on that list. If you can, it's best to avoid traveling in those areas. Temperatures are dropping across much of the territory, so you can check 511yukon.ca before you head out and make sure you've got a winter survival kit, of course, in your vehicle. Stay safe and stay warm out there. Now let's take a look at the rest of your weather. If you are tuning in tonight from Whitehorse, you might already be hearing the cheers and the sleigh bells. The Santa parade is in full swing in the city. Floats are lit up, music's playing, lining the route to catch a glimpse of the big guy himself. Look at all of that fun and that snow we heard about that's gracing Mount Sima with its presence. There is a lot of excitement out there. Kids are bundled up, waving at every float, and of course, waiting for Santa at the end of the parade. It is a great kickoff to the holiday season. And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a great weekend.